Okay, hi everyone. My name is Carol Yeh-Garner. I am a Royal Crown Diamond. I started Young Living 7 years ago and became a Royal Crown after 27 months of working my butt off. I am here because I want to talk to you about true leadership. Being a leader is something that we all probably never had much experience with in our jobs or experiences before we started Young Living. My whole thing throughout my life has always been about mindset. So I used to be a clinical social worker, then that became a hypnobirthing instructor, natural childbirth, teaching classes for hypnobirthing. I also had my own hypnotherapy practice before I started my Young Living business. And so along the way, I've learned a lot about mindset. And if you've heard me speak before, I always talk about mindset because I think that is one of the things that is so important as a person and as a leader to be aware of, because our blockages are the things that keep us from being truly successful. So the blockage that I want to talk about today is our own personal biases. So we grow up living our lives with the family that we're in the community that we're in the school that we're in, learning all the things from those people around us, right? And so we grow up with a certain bias, a certain blind spot to things that we're not experienced with, right? All the movies, all the TV shows show us a certain way of being. All the stories that we've read, all the magazines that we've read, all of the things that the stories passed down from generation to generation, they all have a certain framework that gives us comfort. And when we're running our Young Living business, it's likely that you'll be enrolling people that are your friends, right? Within your own community. They probably look like you. They probably come from generally the same socioeconomic background as you. As you grow your business, though, you're going to have people that are from outside your circle of friends, from outside your country even, that maybe believe a different religion than you, that have completely different belief systems than you. And so what I really want to stress in this talk today is that one is not right and one is not wrong. So as a leader, I want you to be mindful of your own personal biases so that you can be as inclusive of others that are in your group, that are starting their business so that they feel like they have a place at the table, that they belong in your team. And so I want to talk about a couple different examples in terms of religion, right? I know that there are a lot of Young Living leaders that are very religious, and that is their faith, and their faith is very strong. They talk about it a lot, and I say more power to them. I, however, don't have a religion. I was almost a Christian at one point, got disillusioned, and I am more of a spiritual person. I have my own connection with the universe. When I talk about stuff, whether it's mindset, leadership skills, or whatever with my team, I do my best to make sure that if I'm talking about religion or belief system, that I say the universe, God, or whatever you believe. I don't assume that everyone is not religious like me. I also don't assume that everyone is religious and believes in God. So that's one example. I just want you to be mindful of being inclusive of all the people within your community, within your business. And when you're creating graphics or you're creating posts, you know, right now is the holiday season. Christmas in the US is probably the biggest holiday, right? But is everybody on your team Christian? Does everyone on your team celebrate Christmas? I celebrate Christmas, but I also know I've got Jewish friends who celebrate Hanukkah, people that don't celebrate Christ as part of Christmas, people that just put up a tree, right, and celebrate their own way, people that might celebrate Kwanzaa. Diwali was also a holiday that is in, in the winter season. So when I'm creating graphics, I'm making sure that my graphics aren't biased towards what I'm comfortable with in terms of only Christmas themed, green and white, Christmas trees, Santa, right? I do my best to make sure that if I'm going to create team team graphics, that it has snowflakes or something that's more generic for the season, and that isn't going to make other people that don't believe in Christmas feel left out, feel like they don't belong. In terms of personal bias, it didn't become apparent to me until recently that Band-Aids were only one skin color, right? They fit on my skin and it kind of disappears. I'm Asian. It fits on our kids' skin and my husband's skin. He's Caucasian. Our kids are mixed. But Band-Aids, actually, the brand Band-Aids actually finally came out with multicolored skin colors for their Band-Aids this year. And when that came up in my newsfeed, I was like, oh my gosh, like that never even crossed my mind. Does that make me a bad person or a racist? Absolutely not. It just means that my own personal bias led me to just assume that's skin colored Band-Aids. Yep, matches everyone's skin color. But because I had not had experience knowing someone whose skin doesn't match it, it wasn't something that crossed my mind, right? Other things that didn't cross my mind. The reason why we have an ASL interpreter on this 12 Days of Diamond video is because our team, my team, has a large deaf membership. And I was not aware of what their needs were. I was talking with one of my team members whose husband is deaf and another team member who is deaf. They were doing a lot of education for me, and I could have been offended. I could have told them like, oh, just figure it out. Like, it's not that big of a team for me to like make an effort. But I don't, just like Gary didn't care if one person was buying a product, he knew that it was life-changing for them. I'm not going to just not care about that group of people that needs ASL and benefits from ASL versus just giving them closed captioning, which is obviously a good option, but it's not the best option. And so I really wanted to come and talk to you in 12 Days of Diamond because I want you to think outside of your own personal comfort zone, your own personal bias, and think about who are the people in your life, who are the people on your team that you might not be reaching, that you might be unintentionally offending because you're not including them. I know everyone's heart is to be inclusive, to let people know there's room at the table, there's room on our team for everyone. But there are subtle things that we can do that are intentional about making sure that people feel included. And so if you don't know where to start, I encourage you just to ask your team, hey, call me out, let me know, private message me if you need to. If there's a need that I am not meeting, that you need me to meet, just let me know and be humble about it and be vulnerable about it and be okay with people calling you out and saying like, that post was a little over the top about this, that, and the other. Now, I'm not saying don't be you. I want you to be you. Be you and be true to who you are. So if you are religious, if you are just wanting to get on your soapbox to talk about politics or whatever it is, do that and be you and be authentic. And also make sure that when you're sharing, you're also doing what you can to ensure that anyone who doesn't believe what you believe also feels at least acknowledged by you. Um, we're going to believe what we believe, and that's going to be our truth. The people that believe completely other than us, they're not wrong. That's their own truth, and they're speaking from their own place of truth. And so it's important for us to be true to ourselves and be authentic and be vulnerable and share from a place of vulnerability and authenticity, and also include everybody. So I just want you to just be aware of that personal bias, of knowing that as a leader, I feel it's part of being a good leader is making sure that we're growing and we're learning and we're expanding ourselves. And that includes being aware of how we can meet everybody's needs and help everyone feel included, whether we totally believe what they believe or we don't believe what they believe, to make sure that you're growing a team that's truly inclusive, that embraces diversity, that shows everybody that you love everyone no matter what, and that everyone belongs in Young Living. So thank you for joining me. I hope that was helpful and gives you a little bit of a different viewpoint from what you've thought of in terms of leadership. And any questions you have, feel free to drop them in the comments and I will happily answer them. Thanks again for joining me. Bye.